There we go. Welcome in everybody to Fourth and a Mile. Had some issues going live there. That's why it took so long. But today on Fourth and a Mile, we're going to discuss new, not new legislation, but possible new legislation, I guess. Because as of right now, states are allowed to make up their own mind as to whether or not to make sports gambling legal. And we also have, you don't want to include Motor Singletary in your top 18 Heisman candidate picks? You're a douche. All right, everybody, stay tuned. Welcome in, everybody, to Fourth and a Mile, presented by Planet Adam. I am your host, the Pharaoh of Planet Adam, or God King, if you will. For those of you who don't know, Pharaoh is actually an ancient Egyptian translation of God King. I am Adam Fernandez. This is Fourth and a Mile. We are live on Facebook right now. Hey, Tess, what's happening? Yes. We are live on Facebook. We've got a lot to talk about. But first off, guys, don't forget, go over to bandcamp.com. That is bandcamp.com. Check out my homies, Jocelyn Gonzalez and Matt Hutton. Their band, A Bloody Chasm. Check them out over there. If you're into some hardcore rock and roll, or as Jocelyn likes to call it, spooky metal, you guys will love them. So go over there, check them out. It's been a while since I've been on, guys. I know. I had a brand new job. Let me fix the camera there a little bit. Not that way. We want to get a little bit more yachty in the screen there. Anyways, I had a job there for a week. I ended up leaving the job because I ended up getting a paralegal job with a very prominent law firm here in the San Antonio area. Or actually in this whole state of Texas. But I was doing that security job for a week, and my schedule was 2 to 10. Kind of made it tough for me to go out there go out here and do the show. So I do apologize for that, but I have the new job, and that's going to make it a lot easier on me to be able to do this show. So thank you guys for sticking with me. I love you all, and hopefully we get a few more people in here tonight. This will be going up on YouTube here in a little bit. No, I am not drinking a Dr. Pepper. I bought a Coke over at Old Navy. They didn't have any Dr. Peppers in their cooler. But I had to pick up some more work clothes. So, anyways, yes, we're drinking a Coke tonight. And it wants me to share with Michelle. Calixa Blue, if you're on, I'll share this Coke with you. So, alright, guys, we have a lot to discuss. And again, thank everyone for hanging in there and joining. We only have Tess here right now, but we'll still get on with the show anyways. Hopefully, it won't screw up like it did 2 weeks ago. Where I had to go ahead and redo the show. It looks a little glitchy on my computer, but it always does, so I'm not all that concerned. On the phone right now, it looks just fine. So, alright, let's get into this. So, yesterday, the Supreme Court shot down PASPA, which is Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. Stating that the federal government overreached by making it illegal in most states, but not all, to bet on sports. Gambling, as you know, is illegal in all 50 states except for Nevada. So them shutting it down, saying that that was overreach by by Congress, really, to ban gambling in the other 49 states, that itself was unconstitutional. So this gives states the grounds to legalize gambling on their own unless Congress acts to pass legislation banning it, which won't happen. And I'm going to tell you why. Hey, what's going on, Dick Rose? That's my buddy Greg there. I don't know if you want me to tell everybody your real name, but anyways, so Congress will not pass a gambling ban across the country. First off, that'd have to make it illegal in all 50 states. That's exactly what the issue was in yesterday's Supreme Court decision. But the states and the federal government stand to make a ton of revenue. There's a ton of revenue streams that could be attached to gambling. Most obvious is taxing it. That is pretty much what they're going to end up doing. There are several states that are most likely to jump on board and start offering gambling here within the next few weeks to a year. New Jersey is number one. They're going to jump on it the quickest. But there will still be some states that will that will vote to not legalize gambling. My guess is that Texas will be one of them for a couple reasons. We are a very conservative state, and gambling is very anti. How can I put it? It's not very Christ-like. We'll just put it that way. But also, the state already does not have a state income tax. It really wouldn't benefit too much off of a gambling tax, I wouldn't think, because that's kind of where the revenue is also going to come from, are these companies, these sportsbook companies that would be making money off of gambling that are going to pretty much open up nationwide. Right now, they're all in Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, but they're going to branch out after this and see what states legalize gambling. So it's basically a states' rights issue is what the Supreme Court decided yesterday. But yes, tons of revenue streams for both state and federal governments. Leagues will most likely jump on board here and try to work with these sportsbook organizations to maintain integrity in their games, much the same as the way that FIFA does. FIFA being, I don't even want to try to remember what FIFA actually stands for, but it's the governing body over soccer around the world. Well, I mean, it governs MLS and the U.S. soccer leagues as well, but it doesn't work with betting companies like it does in Europe. Hell, my team, West Ham United, these guys right here, they're sponsored by Betway, which that's exactly what Betway is. They're a sports gambling, a sports company. So, anyways, hey, what's going on, AJ? Not going to be able to make it out to karaoke tonight. I got to get up early. I work at 8:30 in the morning now, so which I don't mind too much, but that's going to make it tough for me to get out to karaoke on Tuesday nights. Anyways, where was I? So Betway works with FIFA as well as a bunch of other sportsbook companies. Most likely what these leagues are going to do is apply what they call an integrity fee of 1% to all these companies. And this isn't 1% of their revenue. This is 1% of all the money that they bring in to bet on the sports. So even what they're paying out, they're going to want 1% of that just to maintain the integrity of their games. So let's bring it back to the beginning. Sports betting is still illegal in all 49 states, but that's because states now need to go ahead and decide what they're going to do to legislate sports gambling, and that's if Congress doesn't step in and go ahead and lay down a ban on sports gambling in the country. My guess is, like I said, they won't do it. That's way too much money that they're going to be spending. So, hey, what's going on, Cassie? I'll probably be seeing you on Friday night or Saturday night. I don't know yet. I might go out to do some karaoke with AJ on Friday because, like I said, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. Anyways, so that's what's actually going on. So don't let anybody tell you that gambling is legal in the United States now. No, it's not. There's going to be a lot of state legislation going down, and until they actually come up with a way to regulate it and to tax it and to actually just come up with some legislation, it's going to remain illegal until they do. So, no, you can't go out right now and start gambling on sports and think that you're not breaking the law. So, yes, until that happens, it is still illegal in your state, but once that happens, it will not be. And all of those here in Texas, which is everybody on board right now, and the majority of the people that will ever watch this show, because the majority of the people that watch this show are people I know on Facebook, so, or in real life. But yeah, and all y'all are mainly in Texas, so Texas probably will not do it just because it really doesn't benefit them too, and as Christian of a state as Texas is, that's going to make it tough just because of the personal implications of what gambling can do. It's going to be, let's be honest, there will be people spending their life savings on a sure bet that the Browns are going to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship. Not going to happen. So, but anyways, yes, it has laid the groundwork for all states to make sports gambling legal in their states, but it itself is currently not legal right now, and it's going to be up to the states. So talk to your congressman if you want it. Again, my guess here in Texas, probably not going to happen. All right, so let's get into some baseball news, and then we'll do some college football news. Robinson Cano today. This guy right here, Robbie Cano, who has been he's been one of the best ball players in baseball over recent years. He's an 8-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 2-time Gold Glove winner, 1-time World Series champion when the Yankees won it in 2009. He has been suspended for 80 games due to him failing a test back in December that he took in the Dominican Republic, which he tested positive for a diuretic. I can't even pronounce the name of the diuretic, but it is one of the substances banned by the joint anti-drug policy in Major League Baseball. So, as it is right now, he's on the 10-day DL with a broken hand. My guess is that even if he didn't test positive, he'd be out longer than the 10 days because it's a broken hand. But now with this suspension in place, he's going to be suspended for 80 games starting immediately. So it's not even going to be for him to get back from the DL. They're going to start it immediately. Cheater. Yeah, I agree. But fact is that this was the first test that he tested positive for. So I don't know how many tests he's taken before this, but this is the first one that he's actually tested positive. That being said, almost knocked out my microphone right there. That being said, and Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, they can all attest to this. It's going to be really hard for him to get into Cooperstown now because he tested positive just once. His career line is 304 batting average, 305 home runs and 1,206 RBI. Those numbers are great numbers. Very, maybe we can play some independent ball. Yeah, he might have to do that. He might have to go to, what are they? The New Orleans Crawdads. That's where Jim Brockmeyer is the announcer for. So, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show, but I do seriously recommend watching Brockmire. Even if you're not a baseball fan, you'll find it hilarious. Anyways, so yeah, his numbers are very much up there to at least grant him conversation to make it to the Hall of Fame. I would actually put him in the Hall of Fame up until this. You know what? I am supportive of putting guys like Bonds, Clemens, and McGwire and Sosa in the Hall of Fame. Simply because everybody was on steroids back then, no doubt about it. So I am one of those people. At now in a day where not everybody, in fact, hardly anybody is doing that stuff now, or at least testing positive for it. This really is kind of a bad look on him. And this really does hurt the Mariners. That's the team he plays for, the Seattle Mariners. They right now they're sitting 1.5 games out of the final wild card spot. Granted, it's still May, it's mid-May, still a lot of baseball to be played. But they're only sitting 1.5 games out. They're going to be without him for 80 games, and they are trying to get back to their first postseason since 2001, since Ichiro's rookie year. And Ichiro just retired, so well. He didn't officially retire. He just stepped down from playing and stepped into a front office role for the Mariners. He's going to be back in early August. By that time, it's going to be probably way too late. He's 35 years old, so he's not having his best numbers right now. I think he's hitting about 285, has 4 home runs. So he's not looking the best he's ever looked, but he's still... first off, he's a guy that has traditionally come on in the second half of the season, typically. Hey, what's going on, Kirk? And then second off, yeah, I mean, he's still a big part of their offense. They moved D. Gordon into center field this year so that Robbie Cano could stay at second base. My guess is you might see D. Gordon move on over to second and bring up someone from the minor leagues. Or, I mean, they have a couple other infielders that they could put in there. But my best guess is that the smartest thing they could do is move D. Gordon back over to second base. At least until Cano gets back. So, this really does go on to hurt the Mariners drastically. They've had great pitching. James Paxton, King Felix. So they have the pitching, but this is going to be a real lack of offense now. So they may be able to overcome it. They're only a game and a half out right now, and Robbie Cano's numbers have not been that good. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been good. So they may be able to overcome that. But as the season goes on, and like I said, he typically is stronger in the second half than he is in the first half. That might go on to hurt the Mariners big time there. So, all right. So now on to some college football. First off, we're going to talk about Nick Saban today. In an interview with USA Today, says that his team, Alabama, earned the national title last year, and UCF did not. To which I completely agree. And you're going to see me kind of here with this story and the next story. You're going to see me kind of seemingly argue with or contradict myself, but I'll get into that here when I get into that next story. So he says, quote, I guess anybody has the prerogative to claim anything, but self-proclaimed is not the same as actually earning it. And there's probably a significant amount of people who don't respect people who make self-proclaimed accolades of themselves. That was a direct quote from Nick Saban. Nick Saban, arguably, and I can't even really say it's arguably anymore. I think he definitely is the greatest college football coach of all time. I mean, he has a point here. The fact of the matter is, UCF played against lesser competition than what Alabama played against. Yes, UCF beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl. Auburn did beat both Georgia and Alabama in the regular season. Of course, Georgia went back and kicked the crap out of Alabama in the SEC championship, or Auburn rather, in the SEC championship. And Alabama was never going to fall too far out of the CFB competition, just because they're Alabama. They only had the one loss, and that one loss came when Alabama was down half their defense. Half their defense in that game were second string or third string players. So to suggest that Auburn would have beat a fully healthy Alabama team, I find that very unlikely. UCF again, they had a great year. They went undefeated and ended up beating Auburn in the Peach Bowl. But they're not recognized officially as the national champions. Yes, they went ahead and bought themselves rings and a banner, and they're going to hang the banner on their first home game, which I think is against my FAU Owls. But they're not the national champions. Sorry, UCF. You guys had a great year. Even your head coach, Scott Frost, said that you guys were not the national champions because they did not win the national championship game. Alabama did. Alabama crushed Clemson and played a great game against Georgia, which they were able to come out on top. And so Alabama is the national champion. I feel bad for UCF, but considering that the teams that they played against in the regular season, their own conference teams, the American Athletic Conference, you have the toughest competition that they had in the regular season. In the regular season was against USF, their arch rival, and in the conference championship game they played against Memphis, and those were both two great games, by the way. But neither USF or Memphis could have stood a chance against Alabama, against Georgia, against Clemson, or against Oklahoma. The four teams that made it to the playoffs. So UCF, I don't think would have stood a chance either. They had a great year, miraculous year, but they are not national champions. That's my take on that. So here's where I'm going to go ahead and contradict myself. Bleacher Report today put out a list of their top... hey, what's going on, Stephanie? Of their top 18 Heisman picks. The guys that they think are going to be in the running for the Heisman Trophy. These names include, at number 1, 2, and 3 right now, are Will Grier, the quarterback from West Virginia, Bryce Love, the running back out of Stanford, who is a total monster. I love Bryce Love. I love watching that kid play. And Shea Patterson, the now quarterback at University of Michigan. He left Ole Miss last year. Now he's the quarterback at Michigan. He's been granted permission to use a year of eligibility this year. Typically, when you transfer, you have to sit out the next year, but due to certain circumstances, he's actually going to be allowed to play this year. So, anyways, that is their top 3. Their list also includes guys like Tua, because I do not say his last name, because his last name is a damn tongue twister. The quarterback at Alabama, who I think is going to end up being the starter. I think Jalen Hurts is going to sit this season, and I'm surprised that he didn't already transfer over to FAU, but I think he's going to end up transferring to FAU after this year. And then also Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State, who really didn't do much, is on that list as well. But speaking of FAU, guess who is not on that list? And I meant to put his stats up here on the board for you guys so I could read them to you. So I'll just pull them up off my phone again. Anyways, so Devin Motor Singletary from FAU, the Owls. He is not on that list. Yes, he plays for FAU, and this is where I'm going to contradict myself. The competition that he played against last year is equivalent, or probably not even equivalent, probably less than what UCF played against last year. But the argument with UCF is that UCF says that they should be ranked number 1. They're ranked number 6. We're going through 18 different players, and Devin Motor Singletary's not on there. Devin Motor Singletary last year alone, this is just his stats from last year, ran for 1,920 yards. He led the nation in points scored with 198 and rushed for 32 touchdowns, which is now an all-time record, or Division I FBS all-time record. And you're not going to mention him at all as a possible Heisman candidate? Are you kidding me? It is because he plays at FAU. It is because FAU plays in Conference USA. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he should win the Heisman. I mean, hell, the season hasn't even started, so I can't tell you that any of these guys that they named should win the Heisman right now. But to not even include him in a list of 18 players is ridiculous. 18. See, here's the thing. No, this is the contradiction, but this is why it's not a contradiction. UCF, or really no team in the American Athletic Conference outside of SMU, but this is not that same SMU, and even SMU never played for the national title. Well, they won a national title back in like the 60s, but this is not that same team. This is a team that got the death penalty and has had to build themselves back up. Anyways, so no team of that stature, no team outside of the Power 5 has played for a national championship in decades. Seriously, decades, and that includes SMU. And as far as the playoffs and the BCS go, so we're going back even to 1999 here, there has never been a group of 5 conference team playing for a national championship. Now, you can also say that, nobody from a group of 5 school has ever won a Heisman. No. But what you can't say is that a guy from a group of 5 school has never been at the ceremony in New York. You guys remember someone named Randy Moss? He played at Marshall. He was a finalist. He was there in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He didn't win it, but he was there. University of Marshall. Guess what conference University of Marshall plays in? Conference USA, the exact same conference that Motor Singletary and the FAU Owls play. And Marshall also got their asses handed to them by FAU this year, as did everybody in Conference USA. So, with those kind of stats, and he's only set to improve, barring a major injury. He's only set to improve. How is he not on your list of possible Heisman candidates? I mean, granted, that list that they made doesn't count for a damn thing. It doesn't. It matters to no one other than the people that read Bleacher Report. And the people that write for Bleacher Report, I guess. But, again, how is Devin Singletary not in your top 18 possible Heisman candidates? Because this guy has been shattering records since he's played for FAU. Last year, he now holds the all-time school record for rushing yards, which was broken the year before by his teammate Buddy Howell. Buddy Howell was a senior this year, so he's gone on and graduated. He's now playing for the Miami Dolphins, by the way. It was, what's his name for the Dallas Cowboys? Morris. God, I can't remember what his first name is. He was the former FAU all-time record holder before Buddy Howell. Anyways, so, but Singletary now has the all-time record for single-season rushing touchdowns in the entire FBS. What's going on, Mike? Mike McPhail, everybody. Mike McPhail. There's only one Mike McPhail. Preach it. I'm trying to, brother. I'm trying to. Anyways, so, yeah. And you have Dwayne Haskins, who has really never really done much. He's probably taken a few snaps last year. I think he started one game last year when what the hell is his name? The former quarterback of OSU got hurt. But all in all, he hasn't really done anything. How is he a possible Heisman candidate? And Devin Motor Singletary, who was fourth in the nation in rushing, led the entire country in rushing touchdowns, led the entire history of college football in rushing touchdowns last year. How is he not in your top 18 Heisman candidates? My guess is it was just an oversight. Yeah, no, you're looking for the YouPorn forum, Mike. That's what you're looking for, dude. YouPorn. Pornhub, one of the two. Anyways, so how was he not in your list? That's my question. That's what I wanted. Oh, man, bring up a picture of Motor Singletary, too. There he is. That's a fine young man right there if I've ever seen one. Beautiful smile on the kid. Number 5 for the Florida Atlantic Owls. He should be on everybody's list of 18 possible Heisman candidates. Of course, my guess is that, again, Bleacher Report just overlooked him. I've never accused Bleacher Report of being the smartest guys in sports, although I do read them, and they have a lot of great articles on there. But Motor Singletary should be on your list. If he's not on your list, either A, you don't really know that much about football, B, you're drunk, or C, you're stupid. One of the two. Or one of the three. So I guess that makes me stupid, right? So anyways, so there you go, guys. That is my argument for Devin Motor Singletary today. That's going to be it for the night. If nobody has any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, anything at all, again, guys, thank all of you guys for sticking with me. Like I said, last week was a tough week for me to do the show. I was working 2 to 10, but now that I got the job that I started yesterday at the prominent law firm here in the state of Texas, or at one of the most prominent law firms here in the state of Texas, I'm be working 8:30 to 5:30, and so I'll be able to come on home and do the show 3 nights a week. So I'll probably do it tomorrow night as well. But again, thank you guys all. I love you all, and as always, besos.